Well, it's a rather cloudy day, but wanted to show that the blueberries, a little hard to look through that wire, but that protects me from birds. They are getting ripe. Hooray, hooray, the grandkids will love that. So those plants are, I think, 4 years old from a 1 gallon pot. But I have to build a cage all the way around it to keep the birds from eating every single berry. Start with the blueberries. I'll show you the peas today. These are Sugar Snap, Sugar Daddy, I think a couple other varieties too. And they're getting pretty big. I'm happy enough to have a snack when I come out in the morning. I like to grab a few, have with my cup of coffee. I've got about a 50-foot row, of which you can see where the shade of that big tree comes into play, because right here is the shade line, and it's pretty obvious what shade does. However, the good side is these will not burn up like the ones on the other end. So I'm happy that I have a little shade and a little sun. And as you can see, these are just getting going. There's a little baby right there. And right beside it, where the sun gets full on, I can pick peas just all over the place here. I mean, actually need to really get in here and pick. So over here is my tomatoes, as my nephew son-in-law, I guess that's what I should call him, Raul from South Africa, that has a video channel on YouTube. I can't say it, Nubrai, something like that. I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that. But there's my tomato plants. They're getting a few flowers, and I always give them a little shake to help with the pollination, and it does help. As you can see right here, there's a little baby, and of course there's more babies, a little cluster there. And I've got a watering system this year, which I'm very elated to have installed and up and running. See the little emitters, each one of those puts out about, I don't know, 5 or 6 gallons a minute. I mean an hour, 5 gallons an hour. And then the potatoes over here, which there's 200 plants. I think I overdid it this year. That's a lot of potatoes. I'm not even sure how many I'm gonna get, but there was 20 pounds of seed potatoes. So we'll see what 20 pounds turns into harvest-wise. And then over here, we have our onions, which I just moved the compost off the top of them, trying to get them to bulb up, which is always a challenge when you start with sets. The garlic is doing okay. That's been planted for months. Red onions, yellow onions, which you can see they're starting to also get that bulb growing, which is what I'm about, get the bulbs growing. So a lot of onions, somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to 400 plants right there. Back to the tomatoes. I've had several people call and say, "Where did you get your owl?" Or, as one guy said, "Did you know there's an owl sitting on that post?" There goes my neighbor. That's a daily do for him on his little lay-down bicycle, which he always runs the stop sign. I guess that's legal. So here's Mr. Owl. He doesn't help much. As I walked up here, a sparrow flew right out of the peas down here. He was down in here in the radishes and the peas, which radishes are done. That's what you get. You get a flower and you don't get much radish. However, if you start pulling clumps, there's radishes. I'm just done eating radishes, but we're starting to cook them. That helps get rid of them. This is all colors of carrot. Yellow, orange, purple, white, so forth. And then this is dill. I wish you could smell it. Dill is amazing. And that is Swiss chard all along there, that whole row. If I'm not going too fast and make you seasick to watch this. And then this is beets. Oh dear, there's a little bad bug right there. That guy right there, he needs to die. However, this is the time of day you can come out here and find these little creatures and kill them. Looks like sort of a pink ladybug. I don't even know what it's called. I just know he's bad. And then that's a kind of a green, tastes slightly like turnip. This is my premier kale, which the worms have found, and they are munching away. I'm gonna have to do something or they're gonna eat it all. This is, oh look, that's what happens to a slug after he gets some slug bait. They deliquefy. And this is a basil that's new to me. I'm hoping it will really kick in here. While it's pretty small right now. I just planted a row of peppers. Those came from Jamaica. We have a friend that visits there often, and she brought back some actual peppers in her suitcase, and I planted the seed, and I got 4 or 5 plants. Here's the biggest one right here, and it's nestled right in here between the pak choy, which is going to seed, and that Chinese mustard stuff, and then arugula, which, oh my gosh, stuff tastes like dirty socks if you ask me, but I don't know, some people like it. It's not my favorite thing to eat. I tried, but the lettuce has been really great this year. These actually are turning into small heads, even though it's blastingly hot the last few days and it's really taken a toll. This stuff, however, is the heat's not bothering it so much, so I probably will grow this stuff again. It's a mix that's already mixed in the seed pack, and so get it from Baker Creek. And that is cilantro that went to seed. Holy moly, it really jumped up there. It looked like this just a few days ago. This is what I'm planting today. This is cucumber and some eggplant. I'm gonna get that in the ground today. This is a new experiment for me. It's one of the largest clusters of tomatoes that you get on a plant. They say maybe 150 in a cluster, and as you can see, that's true. That's a lot of flower right there. Be interesting to see how that turns out. A row of peppers and some green beans there, a few. I think that's maybe a 25-foot row, 30-foot row. And then this is a mix of stuff. Mainly it's okra. 2 rows of okra, actually. These 2 are both okra. And they're just maybe touching 3 inches tall. Pretty small yet. And I interplanted basil, which you can see right here. Genovese basil, just to kind of use the watering system to do double duty. There's another little dab. And there's a really pretty Swiss chard right here that has some beautiful yellow leaves and veins on the stem. And that's a volunteer carrot, which actually, it's kind of funny, but they're actually growing. I had carrots here last year, and all of these jumped up here and grew, and since the soil wasn't prepared at all, they grew a little crooked, but they taste like a carrot. And then over here you can see I'm preparing this bed. I scoot the mulch apart and plant in the soil, and then pour compost and push the mulch back over that to make it look like this. And then add my watering system, which has been a lovely thing. And it's getting a little dry here. You can see cracks starting to form in the ground. So I do have to water. And that black stuff I love because it stops the grass cold, just stops it right there. And it doesn't encroach upon my garden. So the garden is 100 feet long and 60 feet wide, of which I plant maybe half. I have a lot of open space. I like the open space to walk around in.